Managing ADHD without medication is not easy, and on most days, I used to feel completely lost. When I'm overwhelmed, I forget everything. It's like I don't know what to do with myself, and this has a reason. When you're overwhelmed, your brain releases stress hormones, and especially when this happens frequently, this as a consequence lowers the dopamine in your prefrontal cortex, which is the part in your brain responsible for memory, planning, decision making. And yeah, when dopamine drops, those functions temporarily are unavailable. That's why you become very forgetful when you're under stress. And for ADHD people, this is crucial because suddenly you forget every tool that you know helps you, but at that moment, you cannot recall any of it and you're stuck. The solution? Keep a journal where you write down everything that you know works for you. That list will be growing over the years, and no, you're not going to remember everything, especially in the moment that you need it. So have a notebook, or I actually recommend you have a digital version of this, and I'm gonna show you an example at the end of this video based on all the tips in this video, how such a thing could be simple and useful. And by the way, this notebook, which is huge and almost entirely full at this point, is kind of like my backup brain. I cannot live without this. Tip number 2 is handwritten to-do lists, and this is important to create a connection between your limbic system and prefrontal cortex. All right, let's take it one step at a time. The first thing here is writing down a very simple to-do list. Like I literally use a blank page and I put bullet points with things that I want to do today. As simple as that. If you make it more complicated, you're gonna get lost in the process and not in the actual doing, unless it's a very busy period in your life that you cannot rely on this. For that, I have a video. I'm gonna leave the link somewhere here where I use color grading. But for the rest of your life, when it's simple things, keep it simple because then it works. Then your brain can actually manage this. Then the second important step here is that I write down 7 to 10 things for the day. If I do that, then I get 5 or 6 done. And you may think, well, why don't you then write 5 things and then you're gonna get the whole list done and you're gonna have a great sense of accomplishment. It's not gonna work, because if I write only 5 things, then I end up doing 1, 2 on a good day, most of the time 0 things out of that list. Why? Because a small list is too little stimulation for your ADHD brain. Then there is no motivation to do anything at all. And a bigger list feels like a challenge, which actually activates your sweet brain. And why handwriting? 2 reasons. First, we text all the time. And when we type something on our phone and then we close the app or open something else because we got a notification, we completely forgot about it. There is no commitment whatsoever. We're not gonna do anything at all. But there's a second reason why I highly, especially if you have ADHD brain, I highly recommend you handwriting. Handwriting activates multiple brain regions all at once, such as your motor areas, emotional centers, and the prefrontal cortex. And this multisensory input boosts dopamine and increases communication between the limbic system, which is mostly where your emotions and impulses live, and the prefrontal cortex, again, the logical planning part of your brain. Basically, handwriting creates this neurological bridge between your prefrontal cortex and your limbic system, and when they talk to each other, then you're using more of your brain's capacity. Hence, your to-do list suddenly becomes much more doable. Tip number 3 is alone time when overstimulated, because you need to understimulate in order to re-regulate. There are 2 basic ideas here. The first one is that chaos leads to feeling overwhelmed. When your environment is cluttered and there are items all over the place, there are different people talking to you, there are different sounds, different things happening all the time. You need to process all this information, no matter who you are. But if you have ADHD, the issue is that you, even in normal situation, have issues processing information because you pay attention to absolutely everything. And then there are multiple thoughts running in your head anyway. So imagine what happens when you put this kind of brain in an already overly stimulating environment. It gets heavy. Oh, by the way, now very spontaneously, I remember something that I shared with a client during a coaching session, and I told him, hey, imagine your brain is the hardware, and everything you want from your brain to remember, to plan, to regulate, to be less impulsive, to follow through to-do lists, to sleep on time, whatever you want, is the software. So what happens with a computer when you run too many software programs at the same time? Eventually, the hardware cannot cope with all of this. It can get really hot and it can shut down, and then you need to stop the entire system, let it cool down, and eventually restart and hopefully start running less software programs at a time for the health of the hardware. If you imagine your daily life being software programs and your poor ADHD brain trying to cope with everything, then maybe you can understand why we need to be a bit more gentle with this guy, and when it gets overwhelmed, we need to give it time off. And the second point here is that boredom resets your default mode network very shortly, but this default mode network is responsible for brain wandering, for creativity, but also for overthinking and inner chatter. And this area in people with ADHD tends to be overworking. So what can you do about it? My solution is that sometimes when I feel too overwhelmed, I just set 10 to 15 minutes on my phone and I do nothing. No podcast, no watching through the window even, just kind of sitting around, being bored, being quiet. And I know those short moments of intentional boredom truly help me and help my brain to reduce activity in the default mode network, which then allows my prefrontal cortex to regain back some control. Alone time isn't avoidance, it's a form of self-regulation. If you are to remember anything from this video, remember this. Tip number 4 is find out your personal awake, asleep rhythm and embrace it. ADHD has uneven energy cycles, meaning your brain doesn't produce dopamine in a steady, nice rhythm, but rather it releases dopamine in spikes and dips. This beautiful situation creates unpredictable waves of energy, motivation, and ability to focus throughout the day. And that's why some hours feel effortless. You did so well. You even question, do you really have ADHD because you're doing so well? And then other hours feel impossible. And no matter how much you slept, how much coffee you got, you are incapable to function. So how do I deal with this? First of all, I have realized for myself that I'm really not productive in the morning. Like before 12, I just don't enjoy doing things and everything is forced anyway. So a little trick I do is I put all external tasks early in the day, meetings, errands, basically things that do not require my internal willpower. I do not have to make myself, to motivate myself to do it. It has to happen anyway. And then I have the willpower and the energy to do my stuff later in the day. Of course, due to the irregular dopamine levels, this is not going to always work, but I have found that on most days, such basic split already improves my productivity a lot. And if you're anything like me, then maybe this point of view is going to help you. You are not lazy in the morning, just your dopamine isn't online yet. And the second thing that I have discovered for myself is that I need 9 hours of sleep. 8 to 9, that's it. Nothing less is enough for this guy to regain power and function. Maybe you're like that as well, because as a person with ADHD, you are using constantly extra energy just to regulate your brain. So sleep, you really need to sleep, but sleep within somewhat your own chronotype. For example, I cannot wake up before 8 and be okay. No matter what time I went to bed, before 8 in the morning, I just do not want to exist. And when I'm forced to wake up regularly before 8, eventually I actually get depressed because I'm struggling with this forceful behavior that doesn't work for me, and it makes me very demotivated to the point of feeling depressed over a longer period of time. Tip number 5 is parking ideas to reduce anxiety. I kind of call it my capture system. Here is the deal. When you have a new idea, that sudden, new, brilliant idea, this spikes your dopamine. And this is how you are very motivated to immediately act on it. Okay, here is what I do. I actually write down the idea, because then writing it down reduces my anxiety that, oh my gosh, I'm gonna forget this brilliant idea. But also it gives me the ability, the allowance not to act immediately on that genius thought. And later on, when I go back to the thought, very often I don't find it that genius anyway, but even if I do, then I can use whatever my brain, gave birth to at that point. Basically, write down things when new ideas interrupt the current activity in order to be less distracted by your beautiful brain without losing any of its genius ideas. Tip number 6 is learning to say no without shame. Again, there are two things here. Yes, on one hand, overstimulation, saying yes all the time to people leads to shutdown. But when you have ADHD, there's this other thing that when you say yes, you get a sudden hit of dopamine. Well, everybody actually, that moment feels a sense of relief, belonging, approval. But for ADHD people, this is very important because they need dopamine in order to function. So everything that gives you dopamine is like, I want this, I need this. And in that case, saying no is on one hand depriving yourself from that hit, on the other hand also reducing the shame because you feel even worse than neurotypical people because you are sensitive to rejection. And when you say no, you think those people are going to dislike you, stop talking to you, and even the anticipation of rejection hurts you so much. So it's really complex. It's very difficult thing. I have made another video on setting boundaries. I highly recommend you watch it. In general though, no matter how difficult it is, this is a conversation about short-term gains versus long-term gains. Because here and now, you're gonna feel better if you say yes. But in the long term, this is not sustainable. And the constant chase of tiny hits of dopamine, I made them feel good when you said yes, leads to burnout. And the thing with burnout is that once it hits, you're out. You cannot motivate yourself out of it. You become useless, so it's actually very expensive to be burnout. And the best way I've managed to frame boundaries so I don't feel guilty for setting them is look at them as emotional regulation, so that I am capable of giving the people around me a better version of me if I get some rest, if I say no when I'm not capable of really saying yes. And now let me real quick show you an example of how very simply you can write down the things that work for you. It's really not quantum physics. I've just put the main tips from this video with a little bullet point that I know kind of justifies the tip, because in 1 year, for example, I may not even remember why the heck this thing was written there. So this is like a reminder. And whenever you feel overwhelmed, if you have such an emergency list of helpful tools, you can go back to it and you can feel less lost and less clueless about what to do next. I really hope this video was helpful for you guys. And if you have your magic tricks that help your ADHD brain function better, write in the comment section something that you know works for you, because there's a very high chance you actually help somebody else. Either I'm gonna get inspired or somebody else is gonna read it, and sharing is caring. So, let's support each other. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you next time. Bye.